Good evening. I wanted to briefly demonstrate something I've been investigating as far as sharing files from a host system to a guest system. This may not work if, say, for example, your guest system is something other than um, a recent version of Windows 10, say, or the equivalent of Windows 10, Win 10, Windows Server 2016, etc. So what I've done is actually I have shared a directory inside my ISOs directory here on this drive D. You can't actually share a physical disk with the guest OS unless that partition has not been mounted. But what I've done essentially is go and share this. I've very specifically shared it with everyone to give them read-write access. Not because I intend to, actually I could use this to exfiltrate data as well as if I wanted to. So I've shared this. So what I'm essentially going to do is here inside the guest OS, go to my network, turn on file sharing. That might take a minute. And then I can try to go into this network path and see if I can't get into this ISOs directory. Let me see. So, and I might have to might have to type it manually. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, and so I'm going to have to essentially sign into my own computer again, and that's okay. Okay. And here we go. What I have essentially done here, I signed from the guest OS, I signed into my own machine. What I want to do now is take the contents of this installers directory and move it. This is actually going to take a minute because there's a bunch of stuff in here. So let me get in and do this. Copy. And I'm going to put it in my own documents directory. I've got 7-zip, I've got the Firefox installer, I've got an ISO for, I think, SQL Server 2014 Service Pack 3, I've got the System Center VMM, and some other things. Yeah, so it's about 4 gigs worth of data, including an ISO, that I will probably have to mount as though it were a disk so I can install SQL Server. All of this stuff is for Chapter 6, actually. So that's how you can share a directory on your host system with the guest for the purposes of doing an end run around the very, very tight security that Windows Server 2016 has built into its implementation of Internet Explorer. You'd probably be able to get to Microsoft.com, but because now there are so many subdomains inside Microsoft.com, and some of them are not literally subdomains of Microsoft.com. There are other things. You might spend as much time fighting, adding trusted sites to IE's list as getting what you're trying to accomplish done. It might actually be simpler if you're doing this in the real world to download it someplace else and sideload it by doing something like this. I hope this helps, and thanks. And of course, once you're done with this, you break that share. As soon as you're sure you don't need it anymore, break it. Or if you're sure you don't, if you need it to be a read-only share, so you can't use it to exfiltrate data, you can move data in but not data out, then maybe setting all of this to read-only rather than read-write would be a better idea. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps.